Alrighty, Jeff. So your first round back in 5+ years. How did it feel out there, and what was the emotion of just being back out there?
Yeah, it was definitely emotional. It was exciting to be back in competition. It was awesome birdiing the second hole and kind of getting off to a good start. And the golf course played tough. Misjudged a few shots and really only had one bad swing. Just golf course played tough and just kind of got in the wrong. Just didn't hit the fairways. Missed it by a couple yards a couple times, and that's enough to be penalizing out here.
Did it feel like normal, or did you feel a little bit different than thinking back to your
You know,
previous stint?
I'd say definitely, you're much more like being the first turn back. You're definitely, like the 2-footer on the first hole, you're like, oh. But I mean, it was definitely, especially the first couple holes, it was definitely nerve-wracking. I mean, and to see your name up there on the leaderboard for a brief second, even though it's the first day of the tournament, it was kind of fun to see. But yeah, it was a good experience, and unfortunately didn't shoot as quite as good as we wanted to, but maybe get something good tomorrow.
Could you give a quick run through just of when the back injury first started and the timeline of when you knew you needed to step away, and then how things unfolded from there?
Yeah, I mean, I herniated my disc in Canada and took like 4 or 6 months off, and then felt decent. Played in the Abacos or Winding Bay web event at the time, and then I played in the Honda, and then had an injection a few days later, and then wound up having a surgery to remove an epidural abscess 3 weeks after that. Somehow had an infection, and then it was just, it was a fight. It was a struggle, but you got to look for the future, and that's what I'm here today doing. And you got to start somewhere, and it was great that the first week back got to be out here where I've played so many years, and if we don't make the cut tomorrow, at least we know where we're at, and we'll have some work to do, and continue to get ready for Corn Finals.
How long were you unable to walk for during the recovery process?
With a walker or without.
Both.
I mean, they were telling me to get up, and it was hard. I couldn't really roll out of bed to pee or any of that for a couple of weeks, pretty much. I was able to get in a walker and do a couple minutes a day, maybe here and there, and then I put a hospital bed in my living room and got to go home after, I don't know, a few weeks of it, and then it was like you just had a nurse come to the house and take care of you here and there, and it was a eye-opening experience. I mean, you go from living the dream to fighting for your life, but here I am, 5.5 years later, after doing a whole lot of rehab and seeing a lot of great people, and that you never give up.
Is this a win today, being here today? Like, if you look 5 years from now, no matter what the result, today is a win?
I hate to say shooting 77 is a win, but in a way it's a win. You got to start somewhere, and for sure. And I'm just excited to be here, and hopefully we can play better and make some cuts here coming up, and at least get the veteran membership category kind of reactivated and see some stuff next year, or maybe even get through Corn Finals. Just have to see how the game progresses the next few weeks.
What was the low for you during that time, that 5 years? Was it not being able to walk, or was there a time where and I guess how do you battle doubts too?
It's probably like just you're struggling for your life, and you're just wanting to get through to where you're somewhat okay, and then after a year or two probably goes by, and you're just like, I may never get to do my dream again, and that was hard. And you're like, is this seeing different doctors? It's like, am I going to make a full recovery? And it's kind of like, making a full recovery where you're ever going to compete again, I don't know. But it's here we are, and it was definitely emotional. Definitely teared up on a couple times out there. Nothing crazy, but it's a win. And coming out and making a birdie out of the gate, and it was fun to get back kind of in the feel the nerves again and feel the adrenaline going.
Was the birdie one of the times you teared up, or do you remember specifically when you did?
Yeah, like really just kind of the first tee shot,
Yeah.
and then even on the last hole there after making the putt, even though it was for 77. But it's every shot counts. You chip away and shoot 4 or 5 under tomorrow somehow, and you might have a chance to sneak back door in the cut still. It's hard to make cuts when you make double bogeys, but I remember that was experience. But unfortunately, I made 2 of those, but you know what? Made a couple birdies, made a couple nice putts, and focus on the positive, and don't miss the fairway by a yard tomorrow.
You have your wife and 2 girls are here. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
How old are your girls?
The one's 8 months, the other one's a little over 3.
Okay, so 3-year-old, she gets to see dad hit some golf shots. Is that pretty? That obviously didn't happen last time you were on tour. So what's that like for you?
Oh, totally. I mean, they came out on the 9th hole, and I was really the first time she's ever seen me in this environment. And like I said, when we had her 3 years ago, I remember having an interview with somebody, I can't remember who, and I literally was like, I don't know if my daughter will ever really see me play out here. So that in itself is a win. Just having her for that one little moment, waving at you, and she's such a little sweetheart, and I'm excited to be back out here. It's fun to compete again.
And you noticed her when you're on the 9th hole? Your daughter?
On the 10th hole, she came out on number 1 as we were making the turn. Just, I don't want her to make any noise and scream in front of somebody's backswing, but it was she was waving, had her little bunny rabbit, and
How many? When did you start putting and chipping again in terms of your recovery? When did the golf element start coming back, and then full swing?
probably started putting like 3 weeks ago, month ago. I mean, I really haven't worked on the. It's kind of weird. Like most of the game, I have a pretty good understanding of it, and it really hasn't taken that long to kind of come back per se. It's just it'd be nice to get a little bit more reps in and get the. I mean, really, just sitting there and putting for more than 30 minutes or so is probably 4 weeks ago. Before that, I mean, I would obviously maybe go out there for 5, 10, 15 minutes here and there, probably 6 months ago or so, but do some putting drills for 5 or 10 minutes. But the bending over was always kind of like the issue, so it's kind of like stay away from what kind of was pissing it off per se. But like the full swing, like the driver and the 6-iron, you kind of just stand up on it pretty tall and just move through it, and it doesn't really it never bugged me really much. 6 months ago. Now, a couple years ago, 3 years ago, when I was trying to come back, it was bothering me quite a bit still. But for whatever reason, I was able to, after time and a lot of hard work, doing a lot of Stuart McGill's Big 3 and what some of the trainers that I've worked with tell me to do, and here we are.
What's your pain level like when you're playing right now? Is there any?
I mean, there's some small amounts. But nothing that seems like it's prohibiting me from playing. I mean, towards the end here, I'm feeling a little bit, but it'll be good to get off my feet here and probably hop in an ice bath and maybe get a little, even jump in the pool or something for a little bit, just kind of alleviate it.
So 2 or 3 years ago, you tried to make a competitive comeback. Did you play any tournaments?
I didn't play any tournaments. I was just, you'd go out there and play 9 holes, and it was just didn't feel good. I mean, it's one thing to go out there for an hour and a half and play 9, or maybe 18 here and there, but it wasn't anywhere close to being competitive or, just feeling decent at all. So it was kind of like when I reached out to Stuart McGill, he was like, why don't we shut down for another year and do some stuff and really try to stabilize this area. And it seemed like it helped a lot. And then after we kind of stabilized it, then got with Shane Rye, a good trainer. He does some stuff with the Dolphins and some stuff with the New York Yankees. And he got me moving a little bit, and we started, seeing what we could do. Go 6-iron drivers, and then a week couple weeks later, try to play 9 holes, 6 holes, 5 holes, see how much wears it out, and just kind of slowly build up. And I was just kind of surprised at how I worked with Craig Harmon, and he was like, your golf swing looks great, like get out there and start playing a few weeks ago. And so I was like, all right, let's do it.
And that whole process started a few months ago? in the
You know, I
build-
mean,
build-up?
I'd say like a few years ago, I had a lesson with Craig Harmon, and he kind of showed me a Jimmy Ballard style with Rocco Mediate, a Golf Channel thing that of kind of standing a little taller, getting a little closer to it, and really making sure you're moving through the ball, and don't let any of that hang back ever happen. And so it's kind of whenever I did start picking it back up 6 months ago or so, it was a lot of that, and yeah, so there's a little bit more of a fade maybe per se off the driver sometimes for me now than a draw, but it's I feel like I hit it fairly straight and can still have a fairly complete game. It's just got to get a few things a little more, I don't know, just some of the rust off, I guess.
And then the most recent, in this comeback, it was just a few weeks ago, you walked the full round for the first time? Or?
No, so like I'd say, 6-8 weeks ago, I went and played Valhalla. I played Victoria National up there in my hometown, played that a few times, then went and I walked 18 4 days in a row at Valhalla, and I was able to, play in the back tees all the way back there, 600 yards, whatever it is now. I mean, I was able to kind of keep it around par. I was like, you know what, like, I'll probably pick up a few yards when you get in competition, and I think maybe it's time to try to start playing and see what we can do with Corn Finals kind of being the main goal.
And you have that status through
The
a
medical exemption, yeah.
And were there any conversations with fellow tour players that kind of inspired you to get back out here? Had you been talking with anyone along the way?
When I went and teed it up a few weeks ago, just in like a Monday qualifier, just to get a tournament round under the belt. You can't really reproduce this anywhere, but I mean, you going out and playing 18 holes at your home golf course definitely isn't like the preparation for this. But so I just try to find whatever the closest thing might be, and I feel like I didn't really play that good, but it shot one over, but it was good to just kind of get some rust off, and so I thought, I think I should go play a corn event, and I was on my way up there, and Hollis said, you know what, the first event back, it should be back out here. So it's kind of cool to get to come out here and see where the game's at.
And where's your home course now?
It's Trump Jupiter.
So you see some tour pros around there?
Yeah, there's quite a few guys that play out of there. I see Ernie up there quite a bit. See a few, there's a handful of people that are out there. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jeff.
Yeah.
Congrats.